Hello everyone and welcome to my channel. Today, I would like to talk about the souring of the union and love affair of the couple nicknamed Kim K. I would like to draw your attention to the fact that what Kim K is going through is the same reality many women face all over the globe. And the fact that the judge is not willing to grant her request, despite her husband's blatant and public bullying, should be a warning for all of us about how the system pretends to care about women's safety and mental health. We have to recognize the painful truth that the institution of laws and justice are run and maintained by a patriarchal system. And that at its core, the patriarchal system is tightly intertwined with savage capitalism. And since the judiciary, justice system and the rest of them are male-dominated spaces, and that only in our most recent history are women getting into those careers. It means that many of those women, who are like pioneers in those fields, have no choice but to mimic men, just to be taken seriously. That is why we can't even trust women who are in those fields to help us, at all, when being victimized. Some of those women will even behave more aggressively towards other women, in order to reassure their male counterparts that they are capable of not being easily swayed by sympathy, compassion and emotions. And that they are strong enough not to give in to their instinctive needs to be fair. This is why many women are extremely surprised when they are equally mistreated by other women, when it is time to part ways with their ex, regardless of whether the split is amicable or violent. This is why, in our most desperate hours, when we hire women lawyers to represent us or if we go to a female officer to protect us, we can have our behind handed to us by those women we thought would be our allies. The whole experience can leave you traumatized, shocked and feeling like you are being punished for daring to leave that man and that dangerous situation. You can end up feeling like you are being penalized for being inexperienced or for having believed the misinformation you have been groomed to believe in your whole life in the first place. The system is unfair to us women, and yet we are constantly pressured and sold the idea of marriage and of partnerships, forcing us into a system that is actually killing us, that is also very punitive and damaging to us, on every level. We need to wake up to the truth that many institutions are designed to make money, to benefit men and by default maintain the patriarchal system in place. So it goes without saying that they are not going to make it easy for women to get away, and especially if there are a lot of money involved. After all, shouldn't getting a divorce be easy for somebody like Kim Kardashian? Apparently not. So, if all this can happen to someone like her, just imagine what it is like for regular women like the rest of us. Actually, her case also reminds me of what happened to Bethany Frankel, another wealthy woman. Her divorce took almost 10 years to be finalized. Even though she was trying to break away from someone who publicly displayed disturbing choice of behaviors. All of it, very much like Kim's husband, and many other husbands, around the world. I've seen enough comments to know that a lot of women are gleeful for what is happening to Kim Kardashian, when in fact they should see the unraveling of this love story as a cautionary tale. Because this happens way too often, younger women should start taking several notes. And it is, for that same reason, I am urging young women to learn more about the many hardships behind the propaganda of marriage, and for them to understand how imperative it is for us all, as a community of women, to find ways to purify ourselves from the internalized misogyny we suffer from. So that, the next generation, can possess the strength and confidence to actively reject the patriarchal demands and expectations. By simply refusing to reward men with our bodies, energy and time. And by simply refusing to reward men with the privilege to be the father of our children. I understand how painful this sounds, but the unfortunate reality is that the vast majority of men only deserve to be unknown sperm donors, as they end up using the children to force women into submission. By inducing fear, chaos, confusion, heartbreak and mental anguish. all the while accusing women of the exact thing they are doing. Just like Kanye is doing. Isn't that called gaslighting? And it works like a charm, every time. Anyway, correct me if I am wrong, haven't men said they prefer hookups over relationships? Aren't men calling every woman on the face of the earth either a whore, a bitch, or a witch? Don't all men complain about how pathetically and desperately we women cling to them? Don't they all cry foul to be forced to pay child support and to be tethered by responsibilities? When we, the bitches and witches, never shy away from taking them on as additional responsibilities, as we raise our babies, until we break? Anyway, all I am saying is that it's time to give them what they want. That's all. That is what I will always promote and advocate in this channel. To give men back their freedom. Give men what they've always wanted, the freedom to be the vagabond they've always dreamed of being. And to stop forcing them to be fathers and husbands. Which only end in us endangering our lives, our sanity, our finances, our reputations, and in us taking the chance to lose our children too. It's bad enough to know that our kids are being kidnapped by men just to satisfy their lust. Simply because this is a men's world. And they feel entitled to take what they want, no questions asked. So, to all of you girls who can't wait to be chosen for marriage, I advise you to spend more time and effort to inform yourselves about what truly hides behind that promise of that happily ever after. You see, marriage is not about empowerment or about women's right to be happy, or that it is the only way to achieve happiness as the patriarchy is desperate for us all to believe. Rather, marriage is about the secretive economics derived from the enslavement of women. What I am about to share here is just a small portion of that ugly truth. But since the patriarchal propaganda machine is so refined, they have successfully made us believe that we women are worth nothing and contribute nothing to society besides producing children for them to train for war. And yet, somehow, by some miracle, despite my divorce not being contentious and with no custody issues, my divorce still cost me almost $100,000. A sum of money I didn't even know I had and could afford to lose. As if that was not bad enough to add salt to injury. I also found out the hard way that even after my divorce was official, I still was not able to access my own assets, which were legally awarded to me by the court. And it was all on paper. Shocking, right? How could this be, you may ask? Well, let me tell you, it all happened simply because my trusted, self-proclaimed, expert lawyer did not disclose a lot of information to me. In order to tether me to them, so that I keep paying them additional fees for matters that could have been taken care of, right from the get-go, very easily. This was done, purposefully, viciously and unscrupulously. They literally tried to bankrupt me legally, with a smile and the full backing of the law. And when confronted, suddenly, they are no longer experts. But rather you, the client, is now supposed to know all about the law, yourself, and you, the client, should have asked all the pertinent questions. In addition to those predatory tactics, they will also, on purpose, give you the wrong advice, and some will go as far as stealing money from you, knowing that you won't be able to afford to sue them. Simply because the cost of suing them will end up costing more than they stole. And also, even if you sue, they know the system, the people, the judges, so they can drag the case to infinity and beyond. So, who are you again? They seem to ask of their victims. Yup. It is a real monkey game they play with us women over there. And in the meantime, they are counting on all of you, the next generation, to keep believing in the fairy tale, so they can make a living out of your broken dreams. And this is just one small reason why the patriarchy and its flying monkeys are so invested to keep pressuring women into marriage. Please do remember that until very recently, places like law firms, were male-dominated workplaces. And remember that in the rest of the world, it is still very much the case, and in most Western countries, the average is about 30 years ago when women started. And possibly, women are nothing more than token pieces in those testosterone-infested spaces. Going through divorce, and having to deal with all the ramifications of this process, left me in near catatonic state, which lasted for years after my divorce. I was only able to regain my equilibrium once I realized how justice departments of any kind is just another male-dominated space, and therefore, an extension of the male psychosis and of its patriarchal system. Especially, when after simple things, such as getting the name of my ex-husband out of everything that we shared legally, became a daily battle over the phone. Even the banks gave me a hard time, not to mention the regular home service providers, like electricity and such. And in all my life, with all the teachings passed down by the women before me, still, nothing could have prepared me for any of this. It turned out that if those services were established by Mr. X, even if they were initially established by yourself first, but then allowed your man to take over, can be enough to find yourself locked in a battle to re-establish your name in those paperwork after a divorce or a separation. You may even be asked to provide proof after proof, because the system can't accept you as a capable woman. Just take a look at what is happening to Wendy Williams as an example of what I am saying here. And don't forget that her ex tricked her into being committed too, just to rehabilitate his own image after his cheatation was exposed. Those kind of stories of women being committed or declared insane by husband or family, like in the case of Britney Spears, are not isolated cases. This has been ongoing since forever. Again, young women, I implore you to stop thinking this could never ever happen to you. Believe when I say, the rest of us thought just like you do now. And a lot of those difficulties are unforeseen, because when young, popular or pretty privileged, we are blinded to men misogyny. And don't recognize the looming threat of the words we hear them sing about how women are nothing more than just gold diggers and frivolous human beings. My question is, how can we, where they apply themselves in the games of seduction? Make no mistake, men all over the world, yes, even your sons, don't believe in their souls that women contribute to households, relationships, or to society besides being baby machines, or that those contributions have any kind of value. And this attitude is worse towards women who stay home to raise those babies, even though they will never admit to this. But then again, their actions will always speak volume, no matter how hard you try to blind yourself. And this is why, when you try to reclaim your life, you run the chance of experiencing serious backlash. Like coming across dudes over the phone, who are going to make it their business to do whatever they can to make sure we gold diggers do not blindside those innocent, wonderful men. This is how ridiculous it gets. And most of us don't even know about all those small, crazy details that happens during and after a relationship crumbles, because most women who have been through this say little or nothing. Because these women are deathly afraid to come across as whiny, and to be labeled miserable, bitter, angry, toxic, and accused of hating men. And since they have no choice but to keep quiet and pretend everything is fine, it creates a situation where every generation of young women are forced to learn the hard way, with no safety net available for many. And that's how this vicious cycle not only self-perpetuate itself, but this is also how the patriarchal system maintain its monopoly over society. Yes, we are living in a patriarchal matrix. Experiencing the truth of the daily reality about relationships, marriage, divorce, and child rearing firsthand can leave many feeling like they have been duped, because the gap between the beautiful ideas sold to us versus the actual reality is so wide, it looks like night and day. And many of us have to work very hard to ninja mind trick ourselves into believing it's okay and that we will manage and be fine. Simply because we don't have the choice. So ask yourself this question: if it was all wonderful and super easy, why is it such a struggle for every generation of women? Again, if what they sell to us was exactly as they say it is, why is it that after millennia, women's place in society is still a work in progress, with not a lot of difference for many women, worldwide? When it is a well-known fact that women are smarter than men, and always outperform men, in academia from the beginning. My other question is, are men right to blame women for the ills of the world? Are we women doing so poorly as a whole because every generation of women are deranged, uneducated, narcissistic, manipulative, terrible mothers, bad companions, and wives? And if so, how is it possible that even after we have gone above and beyond to give so much of ourselves, do we still manage to end up joining the long list of broken women who came before us? My question is, what are those chains we seem unable to break from? Please let me know your thoughts. For me, being broken meant that, in order to heal, I had no choice but to give this matter at the center of my pain a lot of time and energy. Now I can say, I get it. I now know why the caged bird sings. And trust me, when I say, there is no more doubt in my mind that marriage is a scam, designed to gain easy access to women, in order to control them. And then to have the perfect excuse to punish them for daring to not submit, for daring to leave, for daring to have a mind, and for daring to expose the system. The fact is, the only reason why men acknowledge us is just to gain access to powers most of us don't even know we possess or know what to do with it. But all men know that truth, so under the false pretense of love, they plunder, until we become shadows of our former selves. A love that their entire patriarchal system makes a total mockery of. A mockery of what love truly is, and means. To know more about men's deep-rooted sense of entitlement, click on the link on the right-hand corner. So, no. There is no more doubt in my mind that the institution of marriage is just a scam. A cleverly designed system that entraps women and steals from them. There is no doubt that this entire system is designed to program and usher women to enter willingly into servitude, all the while delivering nothing more than lip service to pacify and distract us from a very heartbreaking truth. If you want to learn more about how men have been stealing from women, click on the link above. And if you don't believe that the systems under which we unite to create family units are scams, I suppose you find it normal that so many priests, pastors, monks, politicians and leaders are being exposed for being apex predators of women and of children. Or maybe you believe that because not every single one of them have yet to be exposed, therefore, the suffering of all those victims don't count. And that we, as a whole, should allow things to continue just as they are. Either way, let me know what your thoughts are. And in the meantime, please share this video, and choose to come along on this journey with us by subscribing, so you can find out why men can't stand older women, unless it is to use them, or because those women are family members they use as covers for their double lives. Stay safe, and adieu for now.